Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hello, family. This is Mr. E this morning with Morning Thoughts, or as I would usually say, Morning Thoughts with Mr. E. How you doing today? Well, today is December the 17th, and it's about 5:30 in the morning. And I was just lying there in bed. I'm here in Montgomery, Alabama. And something said, get up, and got something I want to say, okay? And as usual, I would say, I don't plan my thoughts, these little videos that I do too much, but usually if something's in my spirit, something's bothering me or whatever, that is when these videos usually get produced. It's usually something in my spirit. And today, I'm feeling pretty heavy. And usually that's a sign that my spirit is bothered, or I got some message or something to say. And hopefully that is how this will be today, this morning. Okay, how do I get into this? And I've written some notes over there on the wall. My phone is so full of so many videos until I know I've got to get another phone. And so this might cut off. That's another reason why I had been doing a lot of videos, because I'd be in the middle of producing and then my phone would just cut off. Because it's got too many videos in it, and I got to go in and delete, and then I have to go through and take the time to do that. And I just, I delete a few at a time, and I try to free up some space so that I can continue. But this morning, I'm just praying that maybe I can do something really quick, and then come back and address the thoughts that I want to talk about this morning. Well, why am I doing this video today? As most of you know, people who are close to me, I know, and who probably listen to these videos, know that we have lost a person or a loved one that's just has really shaken me. To just to even think about this is my dear beloved brother, friend, mentoree or mentor. I mean, he's just done so great in his life. Say Stephen Boss, who we've come to know as tWitch, dancer, performer, actor. Oh, just we just don't know what all the possibilities that were in that package or that gift that God sent us to this earth. Just a wonderful person, always, as someone say, would light up the room. Just someone I came to love, to respect, to, as a student, as most of my students, as long as I've been teaching, I would always say this sometimes in the classes, that I'm one of your biggest supporters, biggest fans. If I have anything to do in your life, I want to be the one that can say, you know, I'm your fan. I want to see you do all the things that maybe I didn't get a chance to do, and the things that you love to do, you know, that are positive and that's going to add to this world in a positive way. I always wanted to make a positive difference. And Stephen was one of those. And if I had to give a title to this video, I would say it would be, Don't Let That Smile Fool You. And I say that because here Stephen was such a inspirational person. Smiling, always looked happy. Even in his dances, he doing crazy stuff, even with facial expressions and what have you. And to know that he was hurting to a point to where he would take his life. And just the day before, from my understanding, this video that was put up, him just dancing and just happy. You know, never would you have thought that he was contemplating or had come to a decision that he will end this wonderful life that, in my opinion, he was having. And that's what we thought, you know, having, you know. So I named this, Don't Let the Smile Fool You. And that's with all of us. That's with all of us, even me. And when I think about this, all I think about sometimes my own life, you know, having to smile. Don't let the smile fool you, you know. And that's usually when I'm talking and delivering these videos, I'm usually just talking from my spirit, talking from my life, and hopefully that it can help somebody else. I know that within the most recent years of my life, I've had to learn to smile in the midst of trials. And if any of you have been watching my videos, you'll kind of see kind of a thread all the way through, you know, of taking those lemons and making lemonade, trying to smile. I could remember when I was teaching up at the high school, Jackson High School. And I think what had happened, I had just gotten my teeth fixed. Either I answered him from this particular student from the perspective of that I had just gotten my teeth fixed, because most of my young life, I didn't smile a lot. And it's because as a child, you know, when you go through that stage to where you lose your front teeth, the two front teeth, and I didn't really lose mine. I think what happened, now that I look back, is that the first two that was supposed to fall out, and then you get the new teeth, the new ones come in, The first two, because back then, I guess, maybe my parents weren't able to do dental, or wasn't knowledgeable of, he needs to go to the dentist, and if these teeth don't fall out and these other two come in. Well, what happened was the first two did not fall out, and then the next two came down in front of those. So it was like I had double teeth. And only if I held my head up a certain way, you could see them. Okay, but by the time I got, to where I was interested in girls, well, I've always been interested that way. But by the time I got to where I could have a little bit more independence and be able to take care of some things myself, I think I went to the dentist and I had those other two removed. But at the same time, that was sort of like they had caused decay in the front. And there was always this little place in my teeth. So I Okay, I think I'm ready again. Like I said when I began the video, I was concerned about my phone shutting off, and it did shut off. And so I had to call my daughter to get her to help me to use this QuickTime to continue the video. And hopefully now I'll be able to work from here. Okay, but getting back to where I stopped, I was just speaking to you concerning, I guess, the influence of words and the influence of people that can come into your life and just say a word and change your life. And I was just about to mention a dear friend of mine from my church, and I was in my 20s back then, and a young married couple, and we had some friends in the church, and her name was, well, her husband and I, we were good friends, and his name was Mark Duncan, and his wife was named Jennifer Duncans, and I'll never forget her because she was the beginning of me starting to smile. She said to me, she says, "You have a beautiful smile." And she said, "You need to get your teeth fixed." And I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, you have a beautiful smile." Let me tell you, I don't think it was weeks later. I went and I got my teeth fixed. And to go back to answer this student at Jackson High School, when he asked me, "Why do you smile so much?" My mind went back to then. The words of this beautiful, it's another thing, this is a beautiful young lady too, and she was from Jamaica. And for her to say that to me, it literally changed my life. And I didn't realize how much that affected me on a daily basis of why I didn't smile. And I've been smiling ever since. And even in the midst of trials, I learned to smile. So words, just because a person is smiling doesn't mean that they're happy necessarily. I'm sure it helps us to get through hard times. But just as this has happened with our dear friend tWitch, did not know that he was hurting so, and hiding. So with that said, the idea of don't let the smile fool you. If you can see here, this is one of my flyers from one of my performances. Let me see how to do that, if you can see that. And the name of it, if you can see, it's a production, how I perform. This is called If Hands Could Talk. You see that? If Hands Could Talk, right there. Well, why did I name it If Hands Could Talk? Because that's pretty much what I do as a performer, especially when I was younger. And I always kind of projected into the future because I knew that just like singers like to sing to the end of their days, I wanted to dance or perform to the end of my days. Okay. So I created this name for myself, If Hands Could Talk. Well, why did I name it that? Because uh, in my background, I had learned and taken several classes in sign language. Well, why did I start taking sign language? Sign language. Um, in other words, to talk with my hands. Um, I did that at a time in my life because when I became a part of the Seventh Day Adventist Church, which was a church where I learned a whole lot, but at the same time, um, I had a gift, and I knew that I wanted to um, express myself from stage and from I wanted to use my gifts in order to teach or in order to express and to be creative and to do creative things. So I came up with this term because the church did not allow dance back there in any church. Back then, I don't remember it. I don't know of any churches that they danced in the church. This was way back in maybe 1975. I was exiting high school. I was in college, and I began to want to perform, and they would not allow dance in the churches. And I suppose even more so from a guy like me, a male guy. And I'd just been introduced to dance. Of course, I used to do street dancing when I was in high school. I think I got the superlative that I was voted best dancer. And so I had a taste for wanting to perform on stage even then. And because they did not allow dancing in the church, I said, that's more than one way to get around this. So I started seeing this lady in the corner of the sermons. She was doing the sign language. And I was just captivated by it. And so I created this thing, what I called it wasn't, I would call it dramatic signing. Not dance, dramatic signing. Okay. In other words, because I had been introduced to dance by Miss Diane Robinson, former dancer, as far as ballet, jazz, not hip hop, ballet, jazz, contemporary, modern, what have you, those dances. And so I was able to connect the two. And so I started to dance and give sign language to reach another community, or just I was able to use it in a way to where we would take these gospel songs, because I played piano then and my wife would sing, and we created this group called Zandra and Anthony in Christ. And so we would perform multimedia experience. And this is when I began to use sign language and dance together, and kind of and we just started traveling, going from church to church and out throughout the area, and doing this thing that no one else was doing. I didn't know of anyone back then, that did dance, especially as a male, and and what have you. So that's how the dramatic signing got created. So when I saw this video of tWitch, I think I was sitting in the doctor's office, and dentist's office. One of them doctors. Okay. And I was looking at the video, and I couldn't turn it up. So I was just looking at him dancing and looking at his expression on his face. And then all of a sudden, I took my mind off of tWitch's face, and I found myself looking at his hands. Just looking at his hands. And all of a sudden, it seemed like it was talking to me, because at the end of the video, I caught, his hand said, "Peace, I'm out of here." And this was just 24 hours before he passed. And I backed the video back up because I couldn't hear the sound. And I went through it again. And then I started seeing reading this video differently. And I took myself away from the smile that was on his face and all the gestures that he was doing on his face. Because the body talks too. Dance is a form of communication, and movement is communication. And then I started sitting there and said, this guy is talking. And I started looking at certain signs that I knew from sign language, but also signs that I knew from miming. Miming, if you was drinking water, if you, just common prayer, the prayer hands or whatever. And I went back to the beginning of the video. And I just started reading it. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about in a video to come. The next video, I'll say what I feel that he was saying in this particular video. Because one thing that I've also learned that took me to this level was because he was in my spirit. And then I have to remember, as a school teacher, we would have workshops and seminars and what have you that we would have to go to, and we would get videos, or we would have workshops on bullying, or we have workshops on suicide. Students, and that would potentially, we have to pay attention to what our children are saying, and what they're doing and what's going on in their lives, other than just what's in the classroom. So when I got to thinking about the signs of a person who is contemplating suicide, and I thought, look at this face. He is so happy. And I remember from one of my classes, workshops, saying that the person will change. They may start giving away things or whatever, but they seem happy, like they have found their answer. They have decided what they are going to do and how they are going to do it. And we were always told that if a student tells you that they are going to commit suicide, the next question you ask them is, well, how are you going to do this? And if they have decided how they're going to do it, that's a red flag. Red flag right there. They have contemplated, they have thought this thing through. Okay, so, and then because they have found their answer, sometimes they tell people, certain things, or give away things, And so with that in mind, and with just thinking about this video is the day before, 24 hours before he decided to leave us. If you've made that decision, when you're going through turmoil, your spirit is troubled. But when you find that answer, sometimes that's what you need, is your answer. So is this where tWitch was? So I started looking, was to see, was there anything in these words, in his body language, dance, body language, dancing from your spirit. I began to read something that was not on his face, because I wasn't looking at his hands. I was looking for an answer. Why did you do this? And so because of if hands could talk, I started concentrating and looking at his hands to see, what are you saying here? Because it was almost as though if he was saying something here. In body language, sign language, the knowledge that I had from teaching, all of these things coming together, said he had to have left a note, but they said that he didn't leave a note. Later we found out that they did. But I was just searching, I guess, for my own, so that I could rest within my own spirit. Why did you do this? And so I was focusing on his hands, and what I saw, peace out, I'm out of here. At the end of the video, he does this dab thing, which in my spirit means salute, dab, peace, I'm out of here.
then I went back and I saw other signs. I prayed about it. He did this sign here. It's R, letter R. And he did something else with it. But I said, in a break dance, I know we can get very detailed in dance to where, almost every little movement and twitch and jerk and whatever can have meaning and stuff. But I always wondered about this rest. He said peace, rest, and then he went somewhere else with it. And then his wife takes him off the camera. Then he comes back in the camera and he pulls down like this. Okay, listen. So these, not that these will necessarily, and it may not be anything truth at all, but maybe in my spirit, I was just looking for an answer so that I could be at peace. And I started to read through other things, which I might go into detail later about. But for right now, my main point is don't let a smile fool you. Hands can talk, body can talk. Body language, it talks. And because I know in my life how you have to just smile and keep going on. And the only message that I can really say now with these morning thoughts is that pay attention. Pay attention. Just because a person is smiling and they are enduring does not mean that things are all right. And we need to remember that as we work with other people, as we listen to our loved ones, when people are stressed, when they're, what is it that they're not saying? This is important. What is it that they're not saying? I can remember being at one of my lowest points, and I went to someone who many of us know, and she's a professional person. And sort of a mentor to me. At that time, they really was a mentor to me. And long story short, this person who I held in such high esteem broke me down like a fraction. At a point in my life, I was at my lowest point. And I was really looking for answers, and I thought that this was just a godsend. And this person out of the blue called me and asked me to come and work for them. And I immediately accepted because I was in the dump and I just needed a breakthrough. And this person had one of their people to call me. And they really didn't know how low I was. I was at a breaking point. I had just gone through a divorce, which even to today, I haven't really gotten over it. Not so much about the divorce part. Not so much about the divorce part, but the fact that I felt like I had lost my family. And long story short, I accepted the job, thought I was right in the place that I needed to be, like God was sending me a message to get up, stand up, you can do this. And this person broke me down like a fraction. Went as far as to say something as demeaning as called me a nigger. Said that you went down to this place that I was living and allowed them to. This person who I looked up to and many of us looked up to as our mentor, as someone who had gone before and had the experience and had affected so many lives in a positive way. I won't take that from them. But she went as far as to call me a nigger. And then on top of that, to say that you have gone down there and allowed them to turn you into a nigger. Here I am. I think I was about 60. I was 60. I'm a grown man. And this person talking to me like that. I couldn't even talk. I couldn't talk. It was all I could do. And all I could do was cry. In this meeting of about 6 of us, all of them younger than me, I had seen this done to other prestigious young men, graduates from Tuskegee University, treated this way. But I never thought it would happen to me, and it happened at that time, at my lowest point. I went home. I mean, I'm crying, I got myself together somehow out of there, and skipping on, went to my dad to talk to my dad to get some wisdom about how to deal with this. But I say this because we have to be careful about what we say to people. You don't know where they are. It affects me to today. Things like that, and a lot of you may say, well, get over it. Yeah, that's the only way I was able to get up, which is someone else I want to mention at this time. Because I stopped going to church. Couldn't do it. I just go to church and cry. And I said, I've got to finish teaching. I got a year to go. I got to retire. Then I'll work on me. I wasn't going to no counselor because I was so committed to the Word of God. It was like, I don't need no counselor. I got the Bible. I got the Word of God over here. And so I tried to live in that way, and that's how, but I could not go to church because all that would do is break me down. And as soon as I heal a little bit, I go back and I break down again. It was like, and then I started studying some other things, and it just changed my whole life. And this other person I wanted to mention was my brother, the Marine. My brother, the cousin Marine. He said, get the hell up. Stand up. That's what I needed to hear. As a man, that's what I needed to hear. I didn't need to hear that feminine side. I needed the masculine side to come through, to tell me, stand up, be strong, and press through. And that's how I made it. And maybe this had to happen to me from someone like a mentor in order to because God doesn't want us fearing anyone. Speak truth to power. I had to stand up to this person. But it was my brother, his words. And that can be so with plenty of men. We hear things differently. And yeah, we want compassion and what have you, but sometimes it comes a time to where you just have to man up. And that's how I go through. And sometimes I wonder with tWitch, how do you make it through this hard place? That was a hard place for me, and I'm sure if he had to come to this conclusion, he had to have been in a hard place. And what did he need to hear? What did he need to hear? Sometimes it just takes another man to come by and tell another man, you can make it. You can make it through this. Stand up. There's greatness in you. That's why when I see young men, I say, there's greatness in you. I knew there was greatness in me. So, we're going to try to smile through this. Twitch, I miss you. I wish you had that. I wish you had someone like the brother I had and have. A strong Marine to tell me, stand the fuck up and press through. There's greatness in you. Be about your father's business. If hands could talk. Peace. I'm out of here.